All right, everyone, now it's debate video number 2. It's not even at the debate, but we've got to talk about it anyway. Kamala Harris does not want to debate Donald Trump. To be clear, she realizes, and she's not wrong in realizing this, and I think her staff realize it as well, that debating Trump is a bad idea. It's better than the alternative, which is, you cower and flee from the debate. That would not look good. It definitely wouldn't look presidential. But she knows that she can't prevail against Donald Trump, especially not with muted mics. So what the campaign is trying to do is change the rules last minute. And they're getting bounced when they try to do this. ABC is saying, what the fuck are you talking about? The Biden campaign agreed to muted mics. The Trump campaign wants muted mics. Trump may not want them, which is a terrible idea. But tacitly, there's been an agreement already. We're not changing the format last minute. You're going to have to show up and you're going to have to debate normally. I agree with that decision, by the way. This is an example of the legacy media actually doing something that's actually reasonable, which does not happen often. It makes sense to have muted mics. Keep this in mind. And this has nothing to do with political strategy when I say this. While it is helpful for Trump to be forced to be linear, and so on that token, I agree with the decision just for pragmatic reasons, it's also better for the American people. The American people have the right to know what exactly are your thoughts on X, Y, and Z. What are you going to do about inflation? What are your thoughts on taxes? What are your thoughts on what's happening in Ukraine, etc., on down the line? Well, they can't really get that if you have people talking over one another. It's like with the 2020 debates. Honestly and admittedly, that was a little bit of a shit show. The format really didn't make any sense. It makes much more sense to have muted microphones. And the funny part is the legacy media, I think, originally believed that this would be a disadvantage for Donald Trump. Well, Trump's not going to be able to pontificate. He's going to have to shut the fuck up. We're going to put him in his place. Well, when he's not able to speak over his opponent, then you don't get any rude, mean tweet moments, and therefore you can't attack him for them. I think it basically blew up in their face, and they made a mistake, because quite clearly it was meant to be a muzzle on Trump, but it didn't really work. And keep in mind that Kamala Harris is more poorly spoken than Joe Biden. Actually, she's not even capable of answering basic questions. Joe Biden, generally speaking, he's capable of being coherent. He goes off the rails sometimes, and he has dementia moments and stuff like that, but generally speaking, he's reasonably conversational. At the very least, he's not the sort of person, he gives me the creeps because, he's creeping on little kids and stuff, but in general, in his interactions with the public, he's capable of being personable. Kamala Harris is not capable of this. She is physically incapable of being interpersonal. It's not possible for her. She's a goddamn psychopath, or at the very least a sociopath with, narcissistic tendencies. And so at the debate, it's going to be more difficult for her. Ergo, her campaign is trying to do whatever it can to bounce the debate. They do not want it to take place at all. What they want is to try to put strictures on it that the Trump campaign won't agree to, Kamala automatically wins, rule or something like that. And the Trump campaign will say, no, I'm not going to do that at all. Well, the Trump campaign has decided not to debate cowardly Donald. That's basically what they're aiming for. I do not believe that they'll be successful in this endeavor. I believe that Kamala Harris will debate Donald Trump. And I'm hoping so because I want to live react to it. It'll be funny. It'll be hilarious. But they're attempting. An attempt is being made to throw the debate. And the reason is that Kamala Harris knows, and the staff around her know, and the aides around her know, and Tim Walz knows, and everyone under the sun knows, she is not capable of debating. She's incapable of debating Donald Trump. It will be so lopsided, it'll be terrible. It'll be funny. I mean, I'll find it humorous, but it'll be a little bit, again, like watching a baby seal get clubbed. Kamala Harris is simply a poor public speaker. That's why she's hiding Harris. That's why she's attempting to avoid the public as much as possible. It's been 44 days into her campaign. She still has not held an official presser. She gave an interview, but it was entirely scripted, pre-recorded, heavily edited, parsed down, and Tim Walz was there. It couldn't be more stark, it couldn't be more obvious what exactly they're trying to do. They're trying to take 2020 and pump it up on steroids. You remember in 2020, of course, Joe Biden didn't really campaign that much. He went to a handful of events and used lockdownerism to hide the fact that nobody was showing up for his rallies. Trump, meanwhile, was, hosting 10, 20,000 people. You had to use lockdownerism at that point. What Harris is trying to do is simply hide in general. So don't flesh out your campaign's platform. Don't appear in public whenever possible. Don't talk to anyone. Don't say anything. Literally just hide. I would advise her to do that too. It's not a bad strategy. If people don't know anything about you and they don't know anything about your platform, then they're looking at this other dude, and if they don't like him, then naturally they're going to default to supporting you because they don't know anything about you. It's the Kasich effect. I've explained this before. If you come out and you flesh out your platform, so you have policy positions and shit like that, and you've had conversations with people, then it's easier to attack you. The campaign's not wrong to be doing what it's doing. They're just trying to trying to win. I would point out, by the way, again, this is the no black pill zone. She is still riding far behind where Hillary Clinton was in 2016. Hillary Clinton lost that election. And by far behind, I mean by like 3.5 points or something like that. I'm not exactly sure the exact number, but it's a significant amount. It's definitely enough to swing a couple of states. I would favor Trump, if the election were held today, to win easily. I don't think it would even be close. I would expect he probably wins Virginia, possibly Maine, possibly New Hampshire, possibly Minnesota, in addition to all of the other swing states. I think in Michigan, probably he comes. I don't think that he'll win Michigan, at least at this point. Again, we've got to do more odds making closer to the actual election. We've got to wait for the debate, and if it happens, and see. I would say, other than Michigan, he's got an advantage pretty much everywhere else. Partially, this is because Kamala Harris is much less well-spoken than Hillary Clinton, and riding 3-4 points behind her. That's not a good place to be. Now, the Kamala Harris campaign can do all the bravado that it wants to and say, well, it's inevitable. We're going to have progress. We're going to have a young black woman in the White House. That's perfectly fine. But that's not necessarily the statistical reality that we're looking at. I am much more confident in this election than I was in 2016. And I was predicting that Donald Trump would win for a significant period of time. Of course, in 2020, supposedly he lost, but that was because of Michael Bloomberg mainly. That's about all. Peace out.